I was here 2 years ago, and it's good to be back. Arad. And so I tell you that I've only done 4 readings in 10 years, and 2 of them have been in Arad. The other 2 were in Florida and Chicago. So, a good guy, Kathleen, invited me to come back and read. And he has some translated, so I will read those. Then I'll read something that's not translated, but hopefully it'll be something you'll like it, even hopefully even if you don't know English, maybe it sounds. I would like them to sound good. But I wanted to begin. A web of sewer, pipe, and wire connects each house to the others. In 206, a dog sleeps by the stove where a small gas leak causes him to have visions. Visions that are rooted in nothing but gas. Next door, a man has decided to buy a car part by part. Excitedly unpacks a wheel and an ashtray, arranging them every which way. It's beginning to take shape. Out the garage window, he sees a group of ugly children enter the forest. Their mouths look like coin slots. A neighbor plays keyboards in a local cover band, preparing for an engagement at the high school prom. They pack their equipment in silence. Last night they played the police academy ball, and all the officers slow danced with target range silhouettes. This year the theme for the prom is the Tetragrammaton. A yellow Corsair sails through the disco parking lot, and swaying palms presage a lot of young libertines. Inside the car, a young lady wears a corsage with bullet-sized rodents. Her date, a handsome cornerback, stretches his talons over the molded steering wheel. They park and walk into the lush starlit gardens behind the disco, just as the band is striking up. Their keen eyes and ears twitch. The other couples look beautiful tonight. They stroll around listening to the brilliant conversation, the passionate speeches. Clouds drift across the silverware. There's red larkspur, blue gum, and ivy. A boy kneels before his gate. And the moon, I forgot to mention the moon. This is a section from a long poem called Cantos for James Mitchell that really isn't as long as it looks. This is like part 101 or something, and there were only like 12 parts, but I made them like separated. And then you imagine, you did all the rest. Thank you. The jets move slowly through the sky like they'll never reach Denver or wherever they're going. And I have the feeling that people are high-fiving nearby, spontaneously, like a saloon brawl, where everyone suddenly starts fighting as if each man has a pre-conscious knowledge of which side he's on when he enters a crowded room. And this fight starts with a Polish joke that a man at the bar begins to tell, but it's not funny, as it concerns a stillborn child and an alcoholic slain by the last European wolf. And even after 3 hours, there's no punchline in sight. When he reaches the part where a Polish scientist who has been navigating through millimeters of wilderness discovers subatomic temples in a rust sample, none of the men are listening. They are thinking about their own childhoods, about the deep embarrassment of scoring on your own team, and the view from falling behind. If you ever If you have ever quit an imaginary job over an imaginary pay cut, mistakenly taken your home's thermostat for a dial with which to focus the windows, written a play about the special relationship that blooms between a withdrawn honor student assigned to tutor school star basketball player, fallen in love with the woman who plays the part of your character's wife and bears you a child that can communicate with rust. Ever been deafened by the panoply of voices in the classifieds? Tied up every private detective in town with false leads? Taken photos of people saying, "Shut up"? Or know a place where you can get married at midnight? Then you know what I'm talking about.
Bravo.
He wasn't sure how the bathroom mirror worked, but decided it must be powered by the razor blades and aspirin he found in the engine compartment. It was a matter of relearning everything after you resurfaced from the coma. The hospital chapel had bought a battered fog machine from a dreary local heavy metal band that broke up over disagreements about Viking iconography. Sitting in the back row, he began to pray for his hospital roommate suffering under the Byzantine complexity of back pain. He said it felt like he was lying on top of an architect's model of a small town whose 5-story bank building commanded a view of the plains. Clouds of steam drifted around his ankles.
Fine.
The waiting room across the hall was filled with hostile stepsons. He was studying their fierce faces when his favorite nurse came in to show him an x-ray of a scarecrow she had found in the chapel. Someone had written the unborn god of the CHHHHHH Indians on the bottom. Here, this pill should make you feel like a turtle tangled up in a dry cleaning bag. The nurses are so beautiful, he thought. Try to remember they're covered in germs. He woke up at 12:34 and saw the mirror knots standing by the full-length mirror in their chrome uniforms. Their scouts had already crossed. They were going to war on the other side, to fight for the stranger's right to know, for the models in the picture that comes with the frame, and all others who seek freedom from liberty and movies about movies about movies. The room in the mirror is full of carbon monoxide, as we all know. That's why we cannot pass without these dense chrome suits. If the other side looks identical, look closer. You'll see an object that's not in the room you're standing in. Typically a lute on a dresser, partially hidden by compacts and atomizers. And the mirror knots just vanished into the glass. We're living in unwritten Bible stories, he thought. That God created forest clearings so he could spy on Indians. Deep within the interior of a Polish joke, where time slowly reduces the stairs into ramps and men with hospital haircuts sit in focus groups discussing the algebra of back pain and the power of not caring. Here in some mother-in-law's version of Poland, where even the magicians are regulated by the state, he walked to the window and said, "Night, you fucking challenger, here I am." Through the mirror, he heard the war cry of the CHNNNNO Indians. His back hurt.
Trăiască Ivaschievici, scriitor
Ask me.
polonez, scriitor polonez, Ivaschievici.
The Polish writer.
Yes, yes. Does the devil appear often in
Vous
Polish
avez
fiction?
parlé toujours des Polonais, monsieur, et je vous admire pour ça. Mais quand écrivez-vous sur les Roumains? Les Roumains
Does
sont
anyone know-
aussi des Européens.
Does Satan, the devil, appear in most often in which country's literature in the East? Who is it? The Poles? When Satan is going to appear in the middle of a piece of fiction for no reason, it's Russian, whatever. Is it Polish too? Does it happen here? No. No. Okay. All right. I needed to fact check something I was going to read you. You know how you know you have a small penis?
No, I have no idea personally.
It's when you put it in your girlfriend's hand and she said, "You know I don't get high." Good point. Chill with the modernist expectations. We're gonna have a little poem here that's going to end your evening on a bang, and hopefully get you banged, because there's a lot of names of you people in this one, matching people. I'm kind of a matchmaker. I had a little yearbook in there with all your information, everybody in here. So this one's going out to the guy in the back. It's called Away Games. That's the cry of the municipality. If the city was an animal, that would be its cry. We are coming, or it's really you people saying, we are coming for you. The people of Arad are coming for you. This is...
No, it's just get out of the way.
It's hard to get out of your own way. I'm having this problem right now, getting out of my own way. Okay. So often, it's the unhappy little sounds that city dwellers make when they're waiting in line that sends half a mind into these green and black mountain towns where it's January inside the furniture, and even the life of a mushroom can be classified as a performance to the steady minds that train in frozen parlors until they're finally able to recall each momentary phase of a candle flame as a distinct historical object. Unlike in the larger urban areas where saxophone solos appear as often and unexpectedly as the devil in Polish fiction, and where one's upstairs neighbor may in fact publish a private newsletter headlines fighting to get started tonight around 8 p.m. These little towns have no bothersome folklore, no special customs, traditional songs, unless you count the creak of adjoining matter. They're places where people treat each other with respect. No one pressures anyone else to dance, or offers unwanted magazine tips on caring for the swamp flower of materialism, or tries to say hello to you through a mouthful of blood. The oldest downtown shops are really just caves at the base of the mountain where you can go buy various lotions and tonics for the treatment of bankruptcy and divorce and other middle-aged ailments. Understanding how all this came to be usually means a visit to the local library. Those ancient books smell like wild carrots, and where it's not uncommon to hear an old animal cry coming from deep within the stacks, which is just the sort of off-putting experience that might persuade you to end your trip sooner than planned, especially if it were to join already nagging city worries about a business problem left unsolved on the dust surface of your abandoned desk, or unease over how the nails have been mumbling in the carpentry at the inn where you've been staying, So it's not until you've packed your bags and changed your return ticket and are rolling backwards through the train yard. Buildings are the organs of the towns. And if you're not living under the tyranny of the easily impressed, let me tell you, it sucks. Pushing buttons and pulling levers to which no machinery is attached, not a compliment. And in fact, there is no leisure with dignity in an unfinished world. I can't relax. Ultimate questions expose the mind to uncertainty. Beneath the surface of all this bullshit here tonight, the roots of the real, they're down there. Some of you got it in your shoes. Currently and forever, there has not been enough care in the world for all what needs caring. And as the amount of what needs caring multiplies, by refusing to acknowledge the clearly so, I have taken a different direction. Some people know me as an Esperanto skywriter, an autistic gunfighter, an agoraphobic pilgrim, an unsponsored theologian. I practice lopsided brinkmanship. I fashion muddle-minded horseshit. I traffic in spurious infinities and make up low-minded backtalk. I generate humdrum spectacles and I encourage mindless secrecy wherever I go. I believe everything begins with pretending. I believe submissive urination is a great sign of respect. Meet me after the show. I believe our mythology is completely inadequate. And I believe the pioneer life tended to breed out functioning teardrops from Americans. I believe in the unassailable primacy of spaghetti. I believe house pets enforce a culture of sleep. I believe it's time for nerds to get back to being dorks. I believe there is something second-rate about British greed. I should have had an expression on my face when I said that. Self-seeking with the easily angered, everything that hates a collaborator. Those who know this never quit. Protect the household, protect the child, borrow the mind. Borrow the mind from the fragmentary poem if you want. Is it a primitive form of one-way communication? Yes. Are there myriad drawbacks? Yes. Incessant trials? Of course. Unlovely byproducts? Ugh. Psychic scarcity. White power baby names? Not so much. I'm cloning smart bears. Apache smart bears. I'm experiencing legal problems in my sleep. I started my company Grandparent Games for the wrong reasons. Dreams of unstoppability. It's the only theme in my life. I've just not been able to stop sitting still. Being a middle-aged man who needs to clip his toenails is the most normal thing in the world to me. Fuck you who don't know it yet. No, I feel when it's time, anyone. It starts from the bottom, rots up, rots from the bottom up, feels fine. Toes. And then breasts. Anyway, I'm fault finding here. And I'd like to get back to successful personhood. Spurning the nauseating catchphrase, there is a certain cervine, deer-like fragility to a man 6 months before his 50th birthday. So much to prove over here, you know, so much. You were there, right? You got there yet, 50? You been to 50? Have you ever been to 50, baby? You've been there and back, and you know what, you're just looking at it. You don't have to say anything, because you know. You're looking at me and going, he doesn't know yet, 6 more months. So I am fragile right now, but I'm strong. And it's really exciting to be back in the swing of things with my unlovely byproduct. My painful thoughts and my cheap signals. My sexual ambition, my parasitic memories, psychic scarcity, I have the oblivion hatch, the earth exit, life and how to leave it, anytime guarantee, an idea whose time has come and gone for others, but it's new to me. Proven and familiar, having it out with myself through pockets of deadness, whatever facilitates self-forgetting. A conglomeration of solitudes, constant unlearning, gossip and fabulation, cruising for attention, low-risk invention. You brighten my existence, goal-seeking systems. I want you guys to have all the answers you'll need to make all the outrageous claims I crave to hear. Because I want to be with people who don't care about the same things I don't care about. I suggest going out on Oscar night. I suggest everyone spend 1 year consciously open to change in every area of your life, especially those of you who've never had a breakdown or screw up or fuck up. You're really fucked because, like, yeah, I know people like you. Later on, you don't have any, you have none of the equipment to deal. You need a crisis right now. I'm going to make it for you later, probably tomorrow before I leave. You need to break down. You need to be beaten down. With words. Necessity is a poor guidance counselor, as fate is a terrible travel agent, and hope is the propaganda of the heart, destiny a door that bangs on itself. You don't see the accordionist when he's beating his son. Undeserved compliments transform an ordinary person into an object of hatred. The wisdom of youth is unattractive to the middle-aged, sorry. There is no leisure suits that I can buy today. But you have to dress as nice every day when you work for God. But tomorrow, I'll have clapter. Laughter, clapter? Laughter and clapping, clapter? Seems something I would shoot for. When so many people going for those other things, why not try a hybrid? So, I'm gonna just tell you one thing. I know a lot of people who do stage work, more often than I do. And one thing you capture, or you run into a lot, are connoisseurs of applause. People who have been receiving applause for so long that they've developed a taste for certain applause, certain exotic applauses. Countries where people don't clap, going there and really making it happen, that's all they care about. Even though nobody knows them. One thing also, hand models. If you can, a performer of any kind would love to perform in front of a hand model. Because if you can get the hand model to really, these are of value. And then hemophiliacs, which I counter. Hemophiliac applause. They risk death to praise you. Have you noticed no one says someday anymore? The rude individuals on the receiving end of my anonymous little notes certainly do. Either do justice and love goodness or get the hell out of my life. The hassle of resetting world records is driving me crazy. It's a gargantuan disservice, a devastating indictment, merciless prosecution, deliberate sabotage, iatrogenic poverty, and psychological contagion. Sustained vilification, opinionated incompetence, bludgeoning experience, unswerving purpose, monolithic subjectivity, selective incuriosity, autotherapeutic rationalization, lethal certainty, outspoken stupidity, diabolical materialism, gratuitous provocation, brutal self-preservation, and sadistic gratification. Induced resentments, legitimizing gluttony, derailing solutions, abandoning reality, pillaging treasures, hoarding nutrients, blockhead bloodshed, coordinated cruelty, industrial injustice, narcissistic nihilism, repetitive reinforcement, rancid rancidities, communicational maneuvers, negotiational nonsense, fear and futility forecast, blowback override, infinite recoil, infinite fuck-up, infinite cock-up, correcting barriers to insight, normalizing the satanic, afflicting the afflicted, repeat, contradict, embellish, digress, erase, insult, reject, implore, envy, resentment, superstition, fear, bulldoze and browbeat, badger and bully, bludgeon and batter, rattle and torment. Those are my values. I am a man who comes to tell stories in the service of an argument. And this is what I'm getting to. This is not the accidental commission of a prohibited act, but it lets you know how hard it is to light a fucking victory cigar in a quickly moving chariot. I hope I connected some old dots to some new dots for you tonight. But let's walk out of here with the right combination of words. I haven't given it to you. As time went on, in light of the above, don't imagine little by little or somewhere in the middle, first time in a long, long time, her cats are her coven. She bathed in baby tears. Time to go to sleep. Cats. Time to part ways with the cat lady. Pending expulsion, taken for grantedness, cats. If concealing white power baby names, mightn't have to know, but is approximately understood. A fascinating reemergence. A sudden transformation, unexpected by all, suddenly came to light. It was us. It was the way, how good it feels to talk about problems when they're over. So good. It feels much better than just talking about normal times. Harnessing that. A once influential but largely forgotten force in the world. There are many of them. You know, the cause of international subway unification. The street peddler revival of the 80s had failed, and a defunct wheelbarrow operators union. We're getting to the point with our institutions where, like, group hug occasions, how many? As a 50-year-old, will I have 3, 4? I'm not going to get into sports. Will I have 2 group hugs ever again? I don't know. It might just be one-on-one, or I don't have any family. Group hugs. Never appreciated it until they were gone. And it's one of those things where you get older and touch, you don't feel the touch. And so, as a man, what is the only caress that I have felt in the last couple of months has been the tug of my seatbelt. I can't help but notice that every time I get in the car. It's not tender, but I'm doing it to myself, strapping myself in. But it's the best that I have today. As for us, we can only run out the series. As you told me last night, from now on, with the EU in control, it's just light maintenance of society. That's all left. That's all that's left. Just light maintenance, sweeping and painting, and everything's been given up. It's kind of that way over there, over where we are too. Squirrels and birds, hopefully is the EU going to do anything about the way squirrels and birds hate humans? Right, they hate them here. Do they hate you guys here? Because in North America, they will not let you get near them. I mean, they act like you are a leper when you try to get near them. It's those little hurt feelings that gives you, they add up. So, before I have a mystical meltdown, let me say that men in the past had trench coats and hats with which to cover evidence of their anxiousness. I don't think it's mentioned enough that modern readers we're naked. I mean, compared to the way Faulkner would dress at a reading or whatever, you see the sweat, it's like, we're just transparent. We're weak, we're needy. We don't have prizes. He's pissed. The conclusion is inescapable, my friends. If we choose to linger beside some random pebble, if we choose to see a friend in a friend who doesn't like you anymore, when you said sink, I gurgled how deep. I've been meaning to talk to you about something about you. Looking down from an upstairs window behind the warehouse in the hills late in the day, a world such as this where even wisdom and sanity are crawling around on the floor looking for drugs. You want to believe that money is frozen work. Get your rest, with the added bonus that your slumber constitutes an affront to the values of those people who ruined everything. Sleep 9 to 5 like I do. Isolate the pseudo-instinctual rationalizations. Dramatize what's at stake. It'll make people nervous. 9 to 5, do it. If you can afford to do it, if you work at night, it will upset people. I'm telling you this, I've been doing it for 2 years, and it's an insult. And even though it's really more like 10 to 5, you say 9 to 5. Whatever it is, just say, I sleep 9 to 5. To a businessman, it's all we can do. We can only disappoint them now. We can't hurt them. Anyway, in the car, driving to the airport yesterday to come here, and I noticed the windshield wipers were saying, you could lose a little weight, you could lose a little weight, you could lose a little weight. And I want to believe that money is frozen work. And I want to keep looking down from an upstairs window behind the warehouse in the hills late in the day. And I have been meaning to talk to you about something about you for a long time. I've been meaning to talk to you about something. I want to tell you how good you are. What a good person you are, how much I like you. And I've always wanted to tell you that. And I'm going to. I like you guys. You're good people. You must be. I'm convinced. There must be some, maybe not, but I think you're good people. And even those people, whoever you are, I believe in your You can do it. Turn it around, guys. Oh, the guy from Bucharest. In the little town, he's the one? The cool guy? What are you jump off the hay truck? And what did the farmer say when Carpathian haystack? Does anyone have Carpathian haystack in the town?
Yeah.
You have them here, right? Little ones? Okay. I just want to say to you guys that I like your town. I have some changes. I'm going to leave them with him. Fortunately, I believe he has no judicial power at this point. But once you get the name changed, there's a problem with that. You know, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
No.
F-I, Arad, A-F-R-A-I-D. This, we know, affects people. Should I go to Arad or should I go to Bucharest? Arad, it's something more made me worry about this name. No, honey, let's not go to Arad. I don't know, it just feels unsafe. I'm afraid. Okay, we'll talk about that later. And I also want to say that when I went back to the US after I was here 2 years ago, the funniest thing that I saw here, and it wasn't really that funny to anyone here, but it was a bookstore on the main street with the quotes above the windows, and especially the ones, there's Confucius, Socrates, and then there's Donald Trump. And then on the other side, they have George Soros or some people, but just this little trio here, right? As an American, when I saw that, remember this is 2 years ago, that was forever. 2 years ago, that person who put that up there did not understand life, the world, anything. But maybe they did. Maybe I didn't. Because I have to say, the prophecy happened here. And when when it started going well, I was just like, I felt so dumb because I had gone into that store with a picture. I said, just anthropologically, I wanted to say to the girl, I went, do you know why this is funny to American? But yeah, it's there's something happening here, something psychically going on here. It has to do with politics, I don't know. But
Maybe you should ask for his birth certificate. Maybe it's from Arad.
So at any rate, I love Arad now. It's the only place I know, except I did know Timisoara a little bit. But so I hope to come back. And I think I might read another thing on Saturday. And I'm pretty friendly, so if you want to talk or see me around, I'm not weird. I'm really not weird. No, I really, so normal. This is where I get to play. Really, yeah. I have insurance. You guys are great. Thank you. Laughter! Laughter! Oh, never stop. Oh, please stop, everybody. Oh, sorry, is that the kitchen?
Păi, un grup.
You guys allow guns? Oh, this is probably bad here. Too many firing squads. Passed.